Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome back. My name's Margot from Journey Through Life Yoga. I'll venture a guess that I know most of you from practicing either in the studio or at Longfellow or Encompass Fitness where we teach. But for those of you that have just happened upon my YouTube channel via the internet, welcome. So today's practice is going to be focusing on creating some space for your hips and for your torso. Particularly if you've been working from home and sitting behind a computer for many hours at a time, or just in general doing more sitting, whether that's curled up on your comfy chair or your couch with your book or your iPad, your Kindle, your Netflix, your pet. I think we're tending to be doing a little bit more sitting than we have been in the past. So those are always times where your hips and your torso can appreciate a little bit more space just for mobility and just creating more space in your torso to aid in your breathing, right? Giving yourself a little bit more vitality. So you won't need any really, a lot of props for this practice. If you have yoga blocks at home, those are always helpful to have. I would recommend a blanket or something so you can use to pad your knees, because there will be a sequence on the knees that will be creating just a little bit more pressure. If you don't have blocks, I found that wrapping a couple of beach towels kind of in a one inside of the other just can give you a little bit of space. So if you need floor feels far away, this can elevate the floor up to you. So this practice, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So it's divided into two parts, and the first part is intended to be more of a warm-up to work through your hips, and then we'll do a couple of sequences on hands and knees and seated. And then there'll be a point in the video where I will cue you to pause, and if you want a longer practice with a standing sequence added to it, I'll cue you to pause there and to move on to video number 2, which will give you just a little bit of extra work, standing work for your hips. It's a little bit more intense. And then it'll have the same wind down sequence as video 1. So they're both going to be the same for the first part. If you're limited in time and you just want a shorter practice, then just stay with video number 1, and it'll be a nice complete practice for your hips and your torso. If you're looking to add just a little bit more for a longer practice, maybe just a little bit more heat involved, then you just continue with video 2, and again, it has the same winding down sequence. So I hope that makes sense, but I will cue you when it's time to move on to video number 2. But otherwise, we're going to start the same. We're going to come onto your back. So it might be helpful for you to lay your yoga mat out in the same shape so that we're kind of facing each other this way. It's along side of your mat. And then just come on down onto your back. Good. So we're going to start with just a full body stretch. And we're just going to start with one side. So you're going to keep your left leg bent and then lengthen your right leg down onto the floor. And then bring your arms up over your head. And then just stretch that whole right side of your body. Push your right heel forward. Bring your right hand way up above your head. Stretch wide through your fingers and spread your toes. You might even pull that left hip up a little bit toward the left shoulder. It might give you a little bit more room to reach. It's almost like you're leaning just a tiny bit to the left. Good. Now reach as long as you can. You take a big full breath. And then exhale and soften and just let that release. Good. Just take a slow and easy breath. And an easy breath out. And then bend the right knee and extend your left leg long. Good. Arms again are over your head. Start to lengthen again through the arms, through the torso. So feel like you're really picking your ribs up away from your hip, and slide that left heel forward. Right? Flex through your heel, spread your toes. You might even pick that right hip up so you kind of slide it so it's kind of picking up toward the right shoulder. Reach just a little longer through that whole left side. Good. And then you're breathing into your hip, your waist, and your ribs. Take a big breath. And then exhale, soften and let it go. Good, easy breath in. And an easy, slow breath to release. Good. We'll
both knees bend just to straighten out your hips. And then extend both legs together. Point your toes and then lengthen out again. This time just a little arch of your back, a little bit of tiny arch, just so you can open up through the front ribs. Squeeze and reach your toes all the way forward. Lengthen your legs as long as you can. Take another big full breath, filling all the way up. And then exhale again. Soften and just let it all go. Good. Easy breath in. And easy breath out. And just start to float your arms down by your sides. Bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor. Widen the feet out a little bit wider than your hips. Toes can point out just a little bit, a little tiny bit. Start to easily windshield wiper your legs side to side. As you go side to side, just notice where you can feel sensation through the front of your pelvis and inside of your hips. You might start to feel it in the sides of the waist and your rib cage. It's kind of gentle wave-like motion. Good. And then coming all the way back to center. We're going to start with a side body stretch. It's almost like a lying down, kind of leaning side body stretch, a crescent shape. So you're going to leave your right leg bent and bring your left leg down toward the floor. And then start to walk your left foot out towards the edge of your mat. So you're kind of at that left corner of your mat. Bring your arms up over your head, maybe behind your head. Right? And then, so you're trying to side lean to the left, right? So you're just going to pick your shoulders up and then angle the shoulders down to the left, right? And then take the right leg, and then you're going to cross your right ankle over your left ankle. Right? So that should give you a nice long side body stretch. You're kind of in this sort of little tiny curve shape. You could bring your arms up over your head, right? Lengthen long. And now see if you can let go any effort in the right side of your body. So let your right thigh, which is your top leg, let that relax. Let your shoulders relax. Feel just a tiny bit of sensation of stretch across the rib cage. It's not very intense. And now soften just a little bit more. You're going to take a big, slow breath. Imagine you could fill that whole side of the rib cage, just the right ribs, right side of your right lungs, right side of your waist, all the way down into your hip. And then let it go nice and slow. And see if you can soften that whole right side just a little bit more. And then again, full long breath. Slow exhale. And then one more, filling up a little bit more. And then exhale and soften. And bring your shoulders back to center. Bend the right knee, bend the left knee, bring everything back to center. And then we'll take it to the other side. So right leg is going to lengthen. You're going to walk your right foot over to the right corner of your mat. Leave your hips right where they are. Take your hands behind your head and just shift your shoulders over to the left. Good. And then take the left leg, right? And then you're going to just cross it over the right, crossing your ankle. Right. So now feeling that stretch right across the front of your left hip, left side of your waist, left side of your ribs. You can take your hands out from underneath the back of your head, right? Lengthen the arms as much as it's comfortable, keeping your left shoulder on the floor. Good. Now let go any tension in your left hip, in your left thigh, and the left side of your waist and your ribs. So you should let it sink into gravity. And we're going to start with 3 big breaths. So take a long, full breath, filling your ribs. Fill it down into the waist, all the way down into your hip. Fill up as much as you can. And then exhale. Let it go and soften. No effort or tension in the left side of your body. And then again, big deep breath in the ribs, filling the waist, filling the hip, And exhale, soften and let it go. One more time, just a little bit deeper, all the way up through the ribs, lengthen your waist. Feel that breath go all the way down into the front of your left hip. And exhale, soften and let it go. Good. And then bring your shoulders back to center, bend your knees, bring them to center. And then start to draw your knees in toward your chest. Just give yourself a gentle squeeze inward. And then start to rock your legs side to side. So you're giving yourself a nice little gravity massage to your back. And feeling those muscles along the low back and maybe the back of your rib cage. Let your feet be soft. Letting yourself as much as you can just sink into gravity here. And then take your hands on top of your knees, and you can separate a little bit through your knees, and again, just letting your feet be soft. Just start to take your knees in circles. See if you can smooth out your breath a little bit here. Okay, not needing to rush your movement, not needing to rush your breath. And take it the opposite direction. Bring your knees back in toward your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze inward. And then you're going to keep your right knee in toward your chest. And go ahead and extend your left leg down onto the floor. Take your right hand to the top of your right knee. Take your left hand. You feel that kind of bony prominence over the hip. Just kind of feel yourself anchor the hand down to anchor down through your hip. And there's a little energy through your left leg. So you're going to squeeze your thigh, a gentle flex of your foot. And not enough for your heel to come up away from the floor, because then you're locking out your knee. So soften the knee a little bit, just so you have a little energy to keep that left leg grounded. Soften the right foot, and then you're just going to start to do some circles through the right hip. And again, not rushing the movement, not rushing your breath. Warming up deep down into your right hip. And then take it the opposite direction. And then as you come back to center, just interlace your hands behind your thigh, behind the knee, and just soften the thigh back in toward your chest. Okay, so we're going to work the hamstring. So option to rebend your left knee, put your foot on the floor, flexing through your right foot. And then as you inhale, extend the sole of your foot up toward the sky. And then exhale, soften and draw your thigh back in toward your chest. And then inhale, lengthen upward. And exhale, softening back. Good, keep going. Option to straighten that left leg again. Good, 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. And breathing in and breathing out. So have you lengthen your leg one more time. Just keep the leg there, point and flex through your foot a few times. Circle out through your ankle. Good, and then bend the right knee, bring it in towards your chest. Right hand comes to the front of the knee, left hand down. Just going to open the right knee out to the right, getting a stretch through the inner hip. Right? Still feel anchored down through the left side of your pelvis, down through your left leg. Take a couple of breaths, see if you can soften and let go any tension on your right inner thigh. And then we're going to add a little bit of movement here. So you're going to take a breath with the knee open. And then when you exhale, you're going to bring the knee across your body, catch the outside of your knee with your right hand, and then draw it over to the, with your left hand, draw it over to the left. And then inhale, back open. And exhale, draw it across. Don't have to go very far, just so you can get a little stretch on the outer hip. Good. Inhale, you open. And exhale, just guiding it across. A couple more times. Breathing in. And breathing out. And breathing in. And breathing out. And then come back to center. Rebend your left knee. Foot comes to the floor. Cross your right ankle over the left knee, making a figure 4. Pause for just a moment, letting the inner right thigh relax. Feel the back of your pelvis melt down into the floor. And then we're just going to add some very gentle movement. So it's a little tiny rock side to side with your knees. Again, the same kind of windshield wiper motion. I'm just going to play with it here and just going to move to your degree. Again, not rushing. So you're not rushing movement. You're not rushing breath. You might go just a little bit deeper. And come back to center. And uncross your leg. Let both feet come to the floor. And then just take a pause. Notice sensation in your hips. Come back to the sensation of your breath. And then bring your left knee in toward your chest. Extend your right leg long. And so left hand on top of your left knee. Right leg is long. Take your right hand to the top of your right pelvis. Squeeze a little bit through the right thigh. Reach out through the right heel. Not enough to lift the heel up away from the floor. Just enough to keep yourself anchored. And now soften the left foot, so you can soften down into your hip. And you're starting some circles, left hip. And changing directions. Okay, full range of motion here without rushing. And you come back to center. Interlace your hands behind your left knee. And feel free to bend your right knee. If you're a little tighter in your hamstrings, you might start with the right knee bent. And then breathing in, lengthen your left leg, reaching up through your heel. Exhale, rebend and soften, drawing in. And then inhale, lengthen. And exhale, soften. And inhale, lengthen. And exhale, soften. A couple more times, and feel free at any point, straighten back out that right leg. And now this time you're going to keep the left leg up in the air. Start to point and flex through your foot. Circle your ankle. And then rebending the left knee. And your hand comes to the front of the shin, just underneath your knee. And then right hand comes down. And then open the left knee out to the left. Keeping the right side of your body anchored down. So you can soften a little bit through the left inner thigh, down into your hip. And we're going to add that movement side to side. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, bring the knee up and over, catch the outside of your knee with your right hand and just draw it across your body a little bit. Right? The hip can lift a little bit, but you're not rolling all the way over. And then inhale, come back and you open. And then exhale. And just draw the leg over. And inhale, open. And exhale, drawing across. And inhale, open. And exhale, drawing across. Good, and open and rebend the right knee and figure 4 cross. Left ankle over this time. Take a moment to let the hips settle, softening down through your left inner thigh. Okay, and then starting that gentle side to side. So keep it shallow at first. Noticing sensation in your hips. Nice, deep, fluid breath. You might let the movements get a little bigger. Just moving to the range that you're comfortable to move within. Good. One more time each side. And as you come back to center, let the left foot come back down to the floor. Take a couple of breaths, let your hips settle. And then bring your knees up in towards your chest again. Give yourself a nice squeeze, a little tiny rock side to side. And as you come back to center, maybe lift your head and your shoulders up off from the floor. Curl yourself up into the shape of a little tiny seed. You might rock a little back and forth here. Take a full breath. And then when you exhale, let your head and shoulders come down. Let your feet come down. Open up into a nice long full body stretch. Long through your torso, long through your ribs, long through your waist. Take a big breath. And exhale, soften and let it go. Just take a nice, smooth and easy breath. And a smooth, easy exhale. And just start to bend your knees. Go ahead and shift. Slide the hips over. Come onto your side. And then using your hands, you're just going to start to guide yourself up. Okay. So come onto hands and knees. And this is where it's helpful maybe to have a blanket for underneath your knees. Give yourself some extra support. Right? And so just coming into tabletop, shoulders over wrists, knees underneath your hips. Fingers are spread wide so you find that anchoring down into earth. And then bring your heart forward, lift your chest, lift your tailbone up high. And then exhale, rounding the spine, pulling your hips back towards your heels. Forehead comes to the floor. And then breathing in, you draw forward. So you're stretching that whole front line of the body. And then exhale, rounding as your hips come back towards your heels. And breathing in, flow forward. And exhale, round. And one more time, drawing forward. And exhale, nice, easy rounding. This time, inhale, coming forward. And then sliding your right hip way back towards your right heel. And kind of leaning your torso to the left. And come back to center, breathe in. And then left hip back towards your right heel, leaning your torso to the right. Center, inhale. Right hip goes back, lean to the left. And inhale, center. Left hip goes back, and lean to the right. And now come through center, just take a couple of big circles, starting to the right. Bring your hips way back behind you and swing to the left. Come all the way up, and then take it again, all the way around. And then changing direction, starting over to the left first. Big, wide, spacious circles. And one more time, all the way around. Come back to center, one more time, cat-cow, full breath in. This time, curl your pelvis under, round through your upper back, and push yourself away from the floor. Good, inhale, lengthen. And exhale, deep cat stretch, pull your pelvis underneath. One more time, stretch long. And exhale, curling under. I'm going to come back to neutral spine. And then we're going to come to seated.
so cross-legged. So it's helpful to have something underneath your hips, right? So that your hips are lifted up and you can take as much padding as you like, right? So the idea is so that when you come to seated, right, you're able to keep a nice long spine, right? If you're all the way on the floor, particularly if you have tight hips, you'll tend to round a little bit through the low back, right? And kind of feel like you're sitting tall, but really rounded. So it helps to get the hips up just a little bit higher. And again, you might need a stack of 2 blankets or even 3, right? You could even place a couple of blocks or rolled towels underneath your knees. So you're gonna come facing me, facing forward. Just easy cross-legged sit. And again, always supporting underneath the knees, sitting up a little higher if you need to, feeling that you have a little bit of a natural curve in your low back. Okay, so you're just gonna roll your shoulders forward and up, and then back and down with your exhale. Good, reach your arms up in a big circle. Feel like you're pulling your rib cage up out of your hips. And then exhale, hands come down to your heart. And then reach your hands back up again, long through the sides of your waist. And then exhale, reach out and away. Bring your chin down to your chest. And then scooping up again, breathe in. Hands through heart center, breathe out. And breathing in. Exhale, turn your palms away, reach out wide, chin comes back down to your chest. Lengthen up, full breath. And then you're going to twist to the left on your exhale. And inhale to center. And twisting to your right as you exhale. Lift up out of your waist, breathing in. Twisting again on your exhale. Breathing in, lengthen. And twisting, exhale. All the way back up to center. You might interlace your fingers, spin your palms up toward the sky. Just try to lengthen through the sides of your waist and the sides of your ribs. If it's not accessible for you to interlace the fingers, just have your hands separate, right? Almost like you're climbing a rope, right? So focusing on lengthening up out of the waist, out of the hips, creating just a little bit of space through your torso, through your waist, and through your ribs. Good, come back up to center, take a big breath, and then when you exhale, you're gonna cactus shape the arms, but pull the elbows back behind you, a little lift of your heart and a lift of your gaze. Now when you exhale, bring your hands toward each other, just interlace your fingers, and then press your palms forward and your upper back rounds. Right? Just leave the low back is still somewhat neutral, you're just spreading apart your shoulder blades. Bring your arms up as you separate your fingers. Inhale, open wide, lift your sternum, lift your gaze, and then exhale, interlace the fingers, rounding through your upper back, shoulder blades separate. Inhale, coming up, and exhale, rounding. Inhale, coming up and open wide through the chest, lift the heart, and exhale, round. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. Good. And then coming all the way back up to center, you're going to reach your arms long, take a big full breath, and then you're going to take your left hand down to the floor, right arm comes all the way up and over. Soften the shoulder, you might even bend the elbow a little bit. Come back up to center, inhale, exhale over to the other side. Good. Breathing in, lift long, exhale, sweeping up and over, opening the right side. One more in and out. Come all the way up, and we're going to take it a little bit deeper. So if you have a block, you could use a block, and if you don't have a block and you have a couple rolled up towels that I just made a mess out of, it's just a way to lift the ground up to you a little bit, right? So you're going to lean back over to the left, and you're going to take your forearm and place it either on your block or on towels or pillows or whatever you have. Spin your chest open, right? So your chest is as open toward me as you can get it. right? And see if you can drop that left shoulder down, right? If this is too intense, you're gonna stay up on the palm of your hand on the floor. Just try not to sink down into your shoulder, right? So you wanna keep that space. But if you can bring the forearm down, and if you have the range where your forearm comes down to the floor, where you can still keep your chest open, right? Certainly you can go there, right? So the chest is open, you're gonna reach your arm up. Okay, now soften down through that right hip, right? Try to let that muscle just relax down. Let gravity take that right thigh down. Good, and then you're gonna inhale, reach up over your head. Big breath into your ribs and your waist, and then exhale, just bend your elbow and bring the elbow a little bit back behind you if you can. Good, and inhale, reach long. And exhale. Good, so the chest stays in the same position. It's just the arm and the shoulder that move. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. I'm going to pause here. Just going to change the breath pattern. So now with the elbow bent, take a big breath in, filling up through the chest, and exhale. Reach up over the head. And inhale. Maybe that shoulder pulls back behind you, and exhale. Keep softening that right hip down. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Good. Sweep your arm all the way down. Gently bring yourself back up to center. Good. Take a lift up of your heart. And then an easy round of your spine. And a gentle lift of your heart. And an easy rounding of your spine. Come back to center. Take your block or your blanket. I'll call it your elevator. Right? Sitting tall. And you're going to bring your right forearm down. Right? So again, try not to just kind of lean and let yourself kind of just sink into it. There's still a little bit of lengthening up through the waist, right? Shoulder stays away from your ear. You're gonna start to spin your chest open. So it's not just the shoulder, but you feel your whole chest open, right? So we're kind of mirroring each other here, right? Let that left leg now be very heavy. So just see if you can release through your hip, let gravity take your thigh, and reach the arm up over your head. And then reach long, take a big breath. And exhale, bring the elbow back. And inhale, reach. And exhale, bring your elbow back. Keep that right shoulder soft. And inhale. And exhale. One more, breathe in. And breathe out. Take a pause. You're going to keep the elbow bent. Now this time you're going to inhale right into that left upper chest. And exhale, reach, stretch through the left side torso. Good. Inhale, left side chest floats. Exhale, reach long. And inhale. And exhale. One last time. Breathe in. Maybe the shoulder goes back. Good. And exhale. Sweep your arm all the way down. And then bring yourself all the way up. Good. Hands come to your knees. Lift your chest up. Take a breath. And exhale, round through your spine. Breathe in, lift. Press down your legs. Sternum lifts. And rounding through the spine. Exhale. Good. And then coming back up. So you're going to take either your elevator prop, whichever block, blanket, or whatever, bring it back behind you. And then if you're sitting on something, just take that out from underneath you, right? So that your hips are right onto the floor. And then you're going to widen out your feet, nice and wide, sitting toward that back side of your mat. Pardon my ponytail break here. Good. And you're just going to lean back into your hands. And again, try not to sink back into your shoulders. You're lifting your chest up, right? So there's all this lift, all this space through the front of your body. And just start to let the legs go side to side again. So there's this lift of your chest. Just letting the legs go side to side, that windshield wiper. You might widen it out just a little bit more, let them go side to side. And then maybe you start to bring the knee a little bit closer to the floor. And as the knee comes down, your hip can lift and your chest and waist can open. And so you might try that a few times, going side to side. Inhale, you lift the chest. Exhale, back to center. Just trying that a few times. And again, not rushing your movement, not rushing your breath. You could add on to this. So the next time that the knee goes down, the chest lifts, you might sweep your arm up and across. Big breath in to lift up. Right, you could skip the arms if you like. Again, the arm doesn't have to go up very high. And then come back to center. And now when your legs are over to the right, you're going to pause there. Right? So you're going to roll onto your right hip so that left hip comes up off from the floor. You're going to walk your right hand back behind you. Right? And then bring the left arm open, take a full breath. And then you're going to twist your body, reaching out behind you, trying to press your hand to the back wall behind you. So you're twisting. Right? And then inhale, open. You're going to keep that hip lifted, keep the chest lifted. Keeping your chest lifted, exhale and twist. Good. Inhale. And exhale. One more in. And one more out, twist. Now come back to center. You're going to take your elevator prop and you're just going to come down now onto your forearm, right? So this is going to get a little bit more into your hips. So you're still going to open. Keep your hip lifted. Inhale. And then exhale and twist again. And inhale. And exhale, twist. Inhale. And exhale. Last time, breathing in. And breathing out. All the way back up to center. Bring yourself all the way up. Good. Knees come a little closer together, feet a little closer together. Lift your chest. And then exhale. Easy, easy round of the spine. Inhale, lift. And exhale, round. So we're going to take it to the other side, leaning back into your hands. Bring your prop behind you. Right, legs nice and wide, the knees will go over to the left. Right? So you're going to lean into your left hand, that right hip is up off from the floor. Again, lifting your chest up so you're not sinking down behind you. Right? So this is an active lift. You bring the right arm out wide, big breath, and then keeping your hip lifted, you're going to twist behind you. And then inhale, open. Keep your chest lifted, exhale, twist. And inhale, open. Exhale, twist behind you. You can straighten the arm to your degree. A couple more in. And out. And in. And out. Coming back to center. Come down onto your forearm, on behind you. Keep your chest lifted, keep the hip lifted. And then inhale, open. And exhale, twist and reach. And inhale. And exhale. Breathing in. And breathing out. Last time, open. And last time, twist. All the way back up to center. Bring the legs up. Center out your hips. And a big lift of your heart. And an easy round and softening. And inhale. And exhale. And come back to center. And we're going to come back to hands and knees. And this is where it might be very helpful to have a blanket or some kind of cushioning again underneath your knees. you'll have a prop, whatever you have for your elevator prop, right? So you're gonna bring your, it's my right leg, the leg that's farthest away from the screen, let's put it that way, right? And so you're just gonna come up, right? Sort of this kind of proposal position, right? So it feels a little bit wobbly, right? So you're gonna take your back leg and just kind of kickstand your shin, right? So it's on a 45-degree angle. And then coming back up. And you might even bring that foot a little closer to center, right? So you wanna make sure that the knee is right over your ankle, right? And your spine is nice and long. So the tendency here is for the hip to sink out. So you wanna pull this hip in, right? And then a little bit like you're pushing the hip a little forward. So you should feel a nice stretch right through the front of your hip flexor, right? Making sure that the front knee isn't caving in, keeping it right over the ankle. Right, so this looks very much like warrior two. Right? So the knees pushing a little to the wall behind you, the hips are pulling up and just a little tiny bit pressing this front hip, the back hip forward. Good, take a big breath in. Take a slow breath out. Kind of like a reverse warrior. So opening up through your torso. Take a deep breath. And then into like a side angle lunge. So bring your forearm to your thigh, right? A little bit sort of mid-thigh. Spinning your chest open, right? This is what we did seated. So it's a little bit deeper now into your hips. So you want to keep your chest open as much as you can. And then kind of check out and see how this feels. So bring your arm up over your head, right? Kind of check in and see how that feels, that whole side of your body there. And this is where you could go a little deeper, and everybody's gonna go to their degree. So you could take your elevator prop, put it on the inside of your foot, right? And then maybe bring your hand down, using the arm as leverage to keep the knee tracking away. Wherever you are, either here, or you might even have your hand all the way down onto the floor. I'm gonna go somewhere in between. So again, the chest is opening up, right? Chest open toward me, heart shining. Take a big breath in, and then exhale, bend the elbow. And inhale, reach long. And exhale, bend. Bring the elbow a little back behind you if you can. And inhale. And exhale. And breathing in. And breathing out. Pause here, take an inhale. And exhale, reach. And inhale. And exhale. Twice more. Breathe in, elbow goes back. And exhale. Breathe in. And breathe out. Sweep the arm down in front of you, coming all the way up. You're gonna take your prop, bring it in front of you, hands and knees, and just take a couple cat-cow tilts. And then you're gonna turn to the back side of your mat. I'm assuming this is your right side. We're just gonna do the opposite side, right? And so bending your right knee, right, angling the back shin, and then coming all the way up. Again, it might feel more stable to bring your foot a little bit more to center, right? And then torso up nice and tall. And then notice again, is this hip kind of sinking back behind you, pushing, so you're squeezing a little bit to lift. So you're drawing the hip underneath you, and there's a tiny tuck of the tailbone to open up the front of your hip. Right, scoot your foot forward so you're lining your knee right up over your ankle, long through the spine, bring your arms out, right? Knee pushes a little bit towards your pinky toe. Still have connection to the ground through the whole front of your foot. Take a big breath in, take a slow breath out. And you're gonna come into a reverse, reaching up, fingertips as high as they'll go, and then you find your version of kneeling side angle lunge. Right? So again, here the hip wants to settle back. Keep the hip hugging underneath. Keep opening through the front of the hip. Right, and now here's where you decide. You want the chest to be open, and if this feels where you need to stop, you're gonna stay here. Otherwise, you're gonna bring your hand down to your elevator prop, okay, or to the floor. Bring your arm up, take a big full breath, and then exhale, bend the elbow, bring it a little bit back behind you so you're keeping your chest open. And then inhale, and exhale. Breathing in, and breathing out. One more in, and exhale. Take a pause, take a breath in, and exhale, reach. Inhale, bend, keep that hip tucking under, and exhale, reach. Inhale, and exhale. One more big breath, and exhale, reach. Swing your arm all the way down in front of you, right? And then you release once again. Hands and knees. Take a couple rounds of cat and cow. And then wag your hips side to side. And so this is where you would pause and move on to video number 2 if you wanted to have a longer practice, which this actually is turning out to be a little longer than I thought. So, but if you want that standing piece, certainly pause, go to video number 2 of the series. And if this is your practice for today, we're just going to continue from here. Okay. So if you're continuing on, you're just going to come down onto your back. Have your prop handy. Have your blanket handy. Good. Okay. So just come back onto your back. And we're just going to come into a nice dynamic bridge with breath. So feet are going to be hip width distance apart. Right? Walk your feet as close as is comfortable to your buttocks. Right? And take a big breath. And now when you exhale, press your low back into the floor and start to curl your pelvis up away from the floor. And as you inhale, lift your hips up into bridge pose. And then when you exhale from the top of your spine, so you keep curling your pelvis underneath as you lower your spine down. And then inhale, curl the pelvis up into your bridge pose. And exhale, and curling down. Keep the pelvis lifting until you come all the way down. Some you can add the arms. Arms can come either away from the body or up over your head. And exhale, coming down. Breathing in, lift. And exhale, lower down. This time you're going to stay up in your bridge pose, arms up either wide or up over your head. Press down through your heels and scoop your pelvis underneath you. More room in the front of your hips. And now breathe into all of that space. 3 big breaths. Take a full deep breath in. Take a slow breath out. Easy, full, long breath. Slow breath out. One more. Lift the hips a little higher. And then exhale, slowly coming all the way down. Good. Just relax for a moment. Release your legs. Release your hips. Good. Bring your hands down. Widen out your feet. And once again, windshield wiper the legs side to side. And then coming back to center. You're going to cross your right ankle over your left knee once again. And it's the option to go a little bit deeper. Right? You can certainly stay here if this feels like a good stretch for your hips. You could move the leg side to side, or you could start to pick up your left foot and interlace your fingers behind your thigh and bring your leg a little closer. Right? Now, if you've had to lift yourself up
or crank your neck to lift up. Take your prop or your blanket and place it underneath your head so that your neck is neutral. And then once you find whatever position, whatever variation of this, right, you might find just a tiny rock side to side. Might feel nice just to bring it a little closer and then create a little space, maybe moving with your breath. Inhale, releasing. Exhale, drawing closer. You could add a little hamstring stretch here, so inhale. And exhale, bring the leg a little closer. Good, inhale. And exhale. Just keep breathing, a few more cycles of breath, whatever variation you're taking, whether it's stillness or some gentle movement. And then go ahead and release your foot to the floor. Take a little pause. Let that right hip relax. And then taking your left ankle over. And you take it step by step, not rushing, letting things settle first. Honoring the difference between your right side and left side. Take whatever variation works best for you. A little rocking motion, side to side here. Maybe bring the leg in, picking up your foot, interlacing your fingers. A little bit of movement in and out or side to side. Nice, easy, slow breaths. See if you can relax your face and your jaw a little bit. And letting your feet come back down to the floor. And bring your knees in toward your chest. Rock a little side to side. One more little stretch here. So you're going to reach your hands in between. See if you can reach for the outer edges of your feet. Right? Come into happy baby. Right? So your feet may not be accessible. You could hold on to your ankles. You could hold on to the backs of your knees. You could bring your elbows into the crooks of your knees and then hold on to your hands. Right? Keep your feet up toward the sky and keep your spine nice and flat against the floor. And again, this is a place where often a blanket is helpful to help keep your neck neutral. You could take a little side to side rock here. Come back to center, bring your knees in, give them one final squeeze. And bring the feet down, just a little rock side to side, counter stretch for the front of your hips. And then finding your way into a nice position, easy rest for your Shavasana. Completely let go the work in your legs. Let go of any tension in your hips. Feel a softness in your belly, in your chest and in your ribs, down into your shoulders. And feel the heaviness of your head releasing into gravity. Muscles in your face relaxing. Letting go your arms, your wrists, your palms, and your fingers. Your legs, your ankles, your feet, and your toes. And drain away any tension that might be lingering, and just start to disengage from your breath. Let the breath become very soft without any effort. See if you can even sense a little softening of your thoughts. So you could physically soften your brain. Just enjoying simple pleasure of letting go for just a few moments. And starting to bring some awareness back into your physical body. Starting right at the front of your hips. The sides of your waist. The expanse of your torso and your ribs, front, side, and back. Take a deep, deep, full breath in through your nose. And let it come out from your mouth, nice and slow. Just let it release all the way out. Starting to bring some gentle movement into your hands, into your feet. A little rocking of your head side to side. You might take one final full body stretch, so feel free to let yourself lengthen long, arms over your head, legs extending forward. Take one more final big breath in through your nose and let it come out from your mouth. And start to bend your knees and roll over onto your side. Take just a tiny pause here. And then bring yourself all the way up, find a comfortable seat. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Sitting tall. Sitting with ease and softness through your hips. Feeling the length upward through your torso and all that space that you have in the ribs, front, side, and back. Sweep your arms up in a big circle, full breath in. Hands come to your heart center with a slow breath out. May you move through the remainder of your day today with grace and with peace and with ease. Thumbs to the center of your forehead. Namaste. Thank you for practicing today. I hope you have a wonderful day. And until next time, take good care.